Today you have to excuse my voice. I am cleansing my body through a sore throat, and so the voice shows it. Although I've done many preparations, I've had some tea, I have had some drops that can help me speak clearly, but if I'm not able to, please do excuse me for that. Hello Sonal, welcome online. Today I'm going to speak about a very important subject, and as you know that this is a part of the series, 7-part series of what is navel consciousness. This is the second part of that series, and it is an important thing that we need to speak about, know, learn, or rather unlearn. With a 20-foot long intestine coiled up within our body, thousands of nerves, hundreds of bones, and trillions of cells, isn't our body alone a mind-boggling feat? Imagine if our body is this mind-boggling, what would behind it be? Standing behind this body, projecting this body into this reality, the energetic blueprint that supports this body. How complex do you think it will be? How great, how mind-boggling will that be? It is mind-boggling. Today we are at a stage, and this ascension is slowly revealing energetic secrets, energetic phenomenon, energetic ideas that we didn't know before, because we were in the Piscean age, in the dark age, what is called the Kali Yuga, the golden age, towards the Satyuga. We are preparing ourselves. This is the gap period, as I had spoken about last time, in which we are preparing ourselves. During this time of ascension, we come to know many secrets about who are we energetically. We may not be able to perceive all of them right now, but as we ascend, as we evolve, slowly these systems will become familiar and we will know the truth in them. Before I speak to you about what is human navel, the greatest question is, what is human navel not? Human navel. What is the human navel? There are a lot of misinformations, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of overlapping information about the navel. And today I would like to dissect it and section-wise help you understand what your navel is not. And that automatically will bring us to what the navel is, which I will talk about in the next talk. The first confusion that we have about the navel is our Manipur chakra, the solar plexus. Our third chakra, solar plexus, is often confused as the navel. Let me tell you that it is not the navel. The solar plexus is a little above the navel. And when I talk about the navel, I am talking about your belly button, literally your belly button. So the solar plexus is a little above the belly button, and the solar plexus is basically responsible for the self-power. You know, sometimes you may feel mentally absent and may not want to do anything because nothing seems worth it. But there is this one power, one energy that actually makes you wake up in the morning, get out of the bed, do your chores, perform nevertheless, and get through the day. Maybe sometimes you realize that that was a great thing. Maybe sometimes it doesn't make It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, you're depressed. But what is that energy that makes you get up and do things? The energy is created in the solar plexus. And this energy creation in the solar plexus is what creates the power to move. So harnessing this energy of your solar plexus is really important. The next confusion is Hara. Hara is basically a Japanese term from the Japanese traditional wisdom. It doesn't refer to one center, unlike the Vedic system, where we actually have one center below the navel called the Swadhisthana. The Hara refers to a few energy points in the abdomen. So below the navel and above the navel, there are few energy points in the Japanese traditional wisdom, and they refer to the entire field as Hara, depending on which point is strong, which is not strong, what is active, what is not active. But in the Vedic system, in the Vedic wisdom, we have the Swadhisthana, that is a few inches, 2 or 3 inches below the actual navel, the belly button. And the Swadhisthana or the Hara is the chakra, the center for self-realization, your identity, your cosmic identity and your personal identity. What is your personal identity and what is the sweetness of you being you? That is something that gets channeled through the Hara, which is also connected to the womb. And it's connected to your sexuality, because the sexuality is the sweetness of you being you. Sexuality has nothing to do with copulation or the act of sex. It has to do with the sweetness of your own identity, the uniqueness of your identity. The next confusion we often have is the womb. The womb is not the same as the navel. The womb is just a projection, a tiny fragmentation, a projection that the navel projects. The navel projects out and the womb is created, and of course the new baby, the fetus, is created in the womb. So any kind of issues that you have related to your mother can be attributed to the womb, to the sacral chakra or the Swadhisthana, but not to the navel. Do not confuse navel and the womb as the same. They are not. The next confusion, there are many confusions. The next confusion is Kundalini. Now, what is Kundalini? Kundalini, if you may allow me, I can only compare it to an atom bomb. Any sacred wisdom across earth, ancient or modern, tells us that we are made in the likeness of God. When we look at us, we may find a lot of gratitude in many factors, but we do not find ourselves to be the God, the source. We may tap into it once in a while. We may see our expansion once in a while. We have glimpses of it. But we do not feel ourselves or see ourselves or experience ourselves as completely as God. That is because we are created in the likeness of God. But the God in us is the nuclear power. That's what I can compare it to. Imagine the forefather of nuclear power. But for now, we can understand nuclear power, nuclear energy. And this nuclear energy is coiled up into a kunda. Kunda is a womb. It's egg. It's coiled up in the kunda, sitting at the base of your spine. It does not ever get completely released, nor do you really experience a complete awakening of the Kundalini. The modern concept where you hear so many people claiming that their Kundalini is awakening actually is cosmically a joke, because Kundalini, if you go back to the ancient texts about it and experiences of various mystics and masters who realize themselves, Kundalini is this nuclear power called God in the kunda, in the womb, and it's coiled up because if it releases, this form, this finite form called body, will dissipate immediately. That means you will drop the body right away if it explodes, if it awakens, if it goes out. So Kundalini doesn't awaken, just like navel doesn't awaken or activate. More about that in the paths coming. The Kundalini doesn't awaken. Why is it placed at the base of the spine? Why is it placed closer to the root chakra and not here, where you could have awakened it and you could have gotten enlightened in no time? The reason why it is placed at the bottom of the spine is because Kundalini is like the force, the God force, that is a slow release capsule. And it releases slowly, slowly. Tiny bits are released as per your capacity. And what keeps it together, what keeps it from exploding, is your root center. Because your root center is about this finite form, about the existence of this finite form. So the existence and the non-existence come together and have a dance with each other, which keeps both of them from exploding. And for billions of years, they just dance like this, just like two big stars dancing, or two big galaxies dancing in the space. For billions of years, they just keep with very little destruction or very little combination taking place. They don't really merge into each other. The power, the both coming together in them creates an energy field that keeps them together without dissipating. So that's Kundalini and the root center in us at our base. And Kundalini certainly is not your navel. Now, one of the common wisdom that most of Asia is blessed with is about the umbilical pulse. Right at the navel, you experience a pulse. And most of the traditional wisdoms in Asia recognize this pulse and correct if there is an imbalance at this pulse, about this pulse. In Hindi, आपकी नाभ ढल जाती है. But if the pulse has shifted to some part of the abdomen, all the organs in the abdomen, especially your digestive system, suffers greatly. So techniques that bring the pulse back into the navel. Did you ever think about why the pulse is at the navel and why is it brought back to the navel? Why isn't brought? It is brought to explain it, not demonstrate it, to explain it in a very easy way. I can say, imagine the solar system. The sun is at the center and all the other planets in their orbit, and yet pulled enough to be in the solar system. They don't fly away, they don't collide with each other, they don't dissipate. So there is enough gravitational pull in the sun to keep the entire orbit running, to keep the entire solar system running. The navel pulse is exactly the same. The pulse at the enough gravitational pull, you cannot call it gravitational pull, but enough energetic pull exerted at different organs and different energetic entities like Hara, Kundalini, Manipur, root, heart center, that keep everything, all the chakras and all the other energetic entities together in an orbit, so that every entity is doing something else and not at war with some other entity. This, as close as we have come to the navel pulse is also not the navel. Getting exciting? Before I reveal what the navel is, which I will reveal in the forthcoming parts, I would like to talk about something important here. Most of the times you are told that as you come into the world, as you are thrown out of the womb, as the umbilical cord is cut, you experience fearful. You experience fear at that level. And because of this fear, you start to not live your life nicely and you start to cling to your mother. My argument from the energetically and physically is the fetus that signals to the mother's brain that I'm ready to come out. This signal in the form of hormones is then received by the mother's brain, and the mother's brain, mother's system, mother's body releases a set of hormones mainly consisting of oxytocin and many other hormones that I just cannot pronounce. That create together the ripening of the cervix. That means they are allowing the cervix now to get off guard and start to open up so that the fetus can come out. The fetus is ready, the mother is ready. So where is the question of any one of them being unready to come out, any one of them not being ready to be separated from each other, and the fetus especially not realizing that it is out, it is separate, and then getting into a shock because it realized that it is separate. Basically, the fetus is ready to come out, and the fetus comes out, and coming out of the womb is not a shock by itself. There is something else that happens energetically when the fetus comes out, or way before the fetus comes out. That happening is the real wound, the fundamental wound. More about all of that in the forthcoming 4 episodes. I'm trying to condense my lifetime of work and receiving of this wisdom into just 7 parts of information. Trust me, it has taken me so long to be able to translate this wisdom that was standing there infinite and take from it the relevant parts that need to be communicated and leave that which cannot be communicated right now, for which I have to wait to create enough awareness and enough receptivity for that to be understood. Yet again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for reaching out. I just posted about wanting to have co-creators in different countries, especially in India, because I'm here for a few months, to have co-creators who can coordinate NC workshops, naval consciousness workshops across India in different cities. And I got phenomenal response for it. Thank you so much. I wanted to personally thank everyone who has reached out to me and gone through the questionnaires and gone through the conditions and actually is more excited. So if any one of you has missed out on that, please go to my profile or even on the Naval Consciousness page. You will find a post that invites you to co-create with me. See if that resonates with you. And yet again, I'm so thankful, so grateful for all the sharing, for all the reaching out that you do, the stories that you tell me, the experiences that you share with me, and the questions that you ask me. I hope I'm doing a good job of doing these lives. Basically, the agenda that is behind doing these lives is making spirituality practical. Practical spirituality. Spirituality in its jargon has done nothing for us. But spirituality has to be dissected. What I try to do is dissect it, break it down to bite-sized pieces that one can chew and use, digest and use. Let me know if I'm doing a good job. Let me know if I can improve somewhere. Let me know if you don't like something. Thank you very much for receiving. See you next Saturday. And before we leave, that which is ecstatic is abundant. That which is abundant is always healthy. Sending you a wave of ecstasy, abundance,